In our previous class, we discussed about the intersection of two subspaces is a subspace, and also the arbitrary intersection, that is intersection of n subspaces is also a subspace. Coming to the union of two subspaces need not be a subspace. So I am giving you one example that the union of two subspaces need not be a subspace. So coming to the example, I am considering let W1 comma W2 be two subspaces of V3R. Here V3R is the vector space with the dimension 3. Dimension is nothing but this is the set of all ordered tuples. So in this set contains ordered tuples. That is why the dimension is 3. So I am taking two subspaces of vector space V3R, and that W1 is of the form x comma 0 comma 0 where x belongs to R, and W2 is of the form 0 comma y comma 0 where y belongs to R. So W1 is a subspace of V3R and W1 is of the form x comma 0 comma 0. So the order pairs of this form x comma 0 comma 0 should belongs to W1, and the order pairs of the form 0 comma y comma 0 should belongs to W2. So clearly these two are subspaces of V3R. So now I am considering union. So W1 union W2 is equal to set of x comma 0 comma 0 comma y comma 0 comma y comma 0. So this is the union of W1 union W2. So now if we want to say union is a subspace, first of all it should be a subset of our vector space. So clearly W1 union W2 is subset of V3R because it contains order tuples and V3R is the set of all order tuples, so that clearly union is subset of V3R. After that we have to prove that union itself is a vector space. For vector space, first we have to prove that abelian group conditions. For abelian group conditions, first we have to prove that closure property. So coming to the closure property, we have to consider two elements in union. So that I consider these two elements x comma 0 comma 0 and 0 comma y comma 0 in union. So if we add these two ordered tuples, we get x comma y comma 0. So the resultant ordered tuple should not belongs to the union, because in union set is a set of ordered tuples of the form x comma 0 comma 0 and 0 comma y comma 0, but it does not contains an ordered tuple of the form x comma y comma 0. So that the union, the sum of two elements from union should not belongs to union. It means closure property fails with respect to addition. Whenever a property fails, so we cannot say that union is an abelian group. This implies that union is not a vector space. This implies union is not a subspace. Therefore, so this is an example for the union of two subspaces need not be a subspace. Coming to the next theorem. Prove that the union of two subspaces is a subspace if and only if one is contained in the other. Yes, the union of two subspaces is a subspace whenever we have added a condition that one is contained in the other. If one subspace is contained in the other subspace, then clearly union of two subspaces is a subspace. So that is our theorem number 5. So coming to the proof. So let W1 comma W2 be two subspaces of vector space V of F. So I am considering two subspaces. So as this is an F and only if theorem, so we have to suppose one condition first. So here I am supposing that one is contained in the other. I am supposing that one is contained in the other. That is either W1 is subset of W2 or W2 is subset of W1. Contained is nothing but subset. So I am supposing this condition first. So now I have to prove that the union of two subspaces is a subspace. For that, so if W1 is subset of W2, then W1 union W2 is equal to W2, because W1 is contained in W2. It means W2 is bigger set than W1, so that the union gives bigger set. So W1 union W2 is equal to W2. So in our hypothesis, you have written that let W1 comma W2 be two subspaces. It means whenever W2 is a subspace is equal to W1 union W2, so that W1 union W2 is also a subspace of V of F. So this is when W1 is subset of W2. Similarly, if W2 is subset of W1, then also W1 union W2 will give you W1, because here W2 is subset of W1. It means W1 is bigger than W2, so that union gives bigger set, so which is W1. Once again, since W1 is subspace, so this is equal to W1 union W2, implies W1 union W2 is also a subspace of V of F. Therefore, I have supposed that one is contained in the other, and I have proved that union of two subspaces is a subspace of V of F. So this is first part. So coming to the second part, that is, now we have to suppose that union is a subspace of V of F. Union is subspace of V of F. And now we have to prove that one is contained in the other. It means either W1 is subset of W2 or W2 is subset of W1. So I am proving in a contrary way. So this theorem cannot be proved directly. So that in a contrary way, I am supposing that one is not contained in the other. I have to prove one is contained in the other, but I am supposing that one is not contained in the other. So that is W1 is not subset of W2 and W2 is not subset of W1. So I am supposing in a contrary way that one is not contained in the other. It means W1 is not subset of W2 and W2 is not subset of W1. So since W1 is not subset of W2, then by the definition of not subset, there exists an element X belongs to W1 and X does not belong to W2. So this is by definition of not subset. Whenever an element belongs to W1, that particular element does not belong to W2. So okay, coming to the next point, since W2 is also not subset of W1, once again by the definition of not subset, there exists an element Y belongs to W2 and Y does not belong to W1. So this is by the definition of not subset. Therefore, here X belongs to W1 and Y belongs to W2. Therefore, X comma Y combinedly belongs to union, W1 union W2. So since by our converse supposition, we have supposed that W1 union W2 is subspace. Subspace is nothing but itself is a vector space. Whenever W1 union W2 is a vector space, by closure property we can write X plus Y should also belongs to union. So whenever X comma Y belongs to union and union is a subspace, X plus Y should also belongs to union. This is by closure property. Whenever an element belongs to union, it should be either in W1 or in W2. So X plus Y belongs to W1 or X plus Y belongs to W2. So first I am considering that if X plus Y belongs to W1, X plus Y belongs to W1, and in W1 we are already having X, so that I am writing X belongs to W1. So here I am considered two elements in W1, one is X plus Y and the second one is X. And since W1 is subspace, so that is our common hypothesis. Since W1 is subspace, by theorem 2, in theorem 2 we are having a condition that in order to say W is a subspace, for any two elements A comma B belongs to F and alpha comma beta belongs to W, if A alpha plus B beta belongs to W, then we say that W is subspace. Similarly, if we are having a W is a subspace, then we can write that condition. A alpha plus B beta should belongs to W. So since here W1 is subspace, so compare W1 with W and A comma B with 1 comma minus 1. I am considering 1 comma minus 1 in capital R. Here field is capital R. sorry, field is F only. So in F we are having 1 and -1. So that I am considering scalars 1 and -1 in place of A comma B, and alpha comma beta as X plus Y and X. So that A alpha plus B beta belongs to W. So in the same way, we have to write A is nothing but 1 into alpha is nothing but X plus Y. So 1 into X plus Y minus 1 into X belongs to W1. Here subspace is W1, so that I have written W1. So 1 into X plus Y minus 1 into X is nothing but Y. So X gets cancelled, so that we get Y. So Y belongs to W1. So, but Y belongs to W1. Here Y does not belong to W1. We are having that Y does not belong to W1, but we are getting that Y belongs to W1, which is a contraction. This is wrong. Okay. So suppose if we consider X plus Y in W2, here I consider X plus Y in W1, and if I proceed, then we get a contradiction. Similarly, if we consider X plus Y in W2, X plus Y in W2, and already we are having that Y in W2, so that I consider Y in W2. Once again, W2 is subspace. Once again, by the same theorem, that is second theorem, we can write once again as A into alpha plus B into beta. So here A is nothing but 1, alpha is X plus Y, B is nothing but -1, beta is nothing but Y. So 1 into X plus Y minus 1 into Y belongs to W2. So on simplification, we get X belongs to W2. So but here we are having that X does not belong to W2, but we are getting X belongs to W2 once again, which is a contradiction. So in any way we are getting a contradiction. So this contradiction is because of our supposition. So we have supposed that one is not contained in the other. So one is not contained in the other. That is what we have supposed, and proceeding into the theorem. So then we are getting each time a contradiction, so that our supposition is false. It means one is contained in the other is the conclusion. Therefore, W1 is subset of W2, or W2 is subset of W1. Hence the theorem. Thank you.